What is up, Rams House? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we got a special edition of a game preview. You guys saw the game preview I put out yesterday, but that was just me going solo as a Rams fan, doing as much research as I could on the Ravens team. Nobody knows the Ravens better than my friend Ingraven here from the Ingraven Vids YouTube channel. He's almost at 100,000 subscribers. Can't thank you enough for joining me today to talk Rams and Ravens. How are you doing today, Ingraven?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing better than our Ravens are doing. But hey, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm hoping that the Rams don't head the direction that the Ravens are in right now. It's definitely would not have predicted that this season. The way the season's gone, there's a lot of different
hmm
reasons for it for sure.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, what are your overall thoughts on this season and this game with the way the direction's going? Where do you see this team going? How
hmm
have we kind of gotten here?
Oh man, it's been a mix of a lot. Uh, Coaching probably has been the biggest issue. A lot of the same repeat mistakes, but then you couple that with injuries, and that doesn't help anything at all. And the Ravens have had a lot of injuries. I guess and obviously the biggest one is to Lamar Jackson because he is Lamar. So when you, I guess a sort of bittersweet thing about it. It's bitter that the Ravens are hurting right now, big time,
Hmm.
in so many different starters, so many different areas of the team. But the sweet part about it, I mean, it's nothing sweet about injuries, but most of them are not season-ending injuries.
Hmm.
So a lot of guys should be back soon. Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton, Ronnie Stanley, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith. Like it's a long list of significant. Hopefully, Pat Ricard, the fullback. It's a long list of significant guys that are out, but they should be back relatively soon over these next couple of weeks, and that will definitely make the team a lot better. But then you still have the same coaching staff. And I think the biggest issue this year has been defense, and that's been even before all the injuries happened. Defense was still a significant issue. So the way that the season has gone, it's been very underwhelming. It's been very disappointing. Will probably be the biggest word. Sitting at 1-4 right now, like this is a team that, especially going into this offseason, like it was Super Bowl hopes. Like we were thinking, okay, man, we already had a really nice roster these last 2 years, and 2 years ago in the AFC Championship. Last year we had a really good regular season, won a playoff game, and then just lost at the last second to the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Like we getting closer and closer, but then the way that the season has gone so far, seem like we're getting further away. But it is just 5 games. They still have 12 left to go. So there's still some hope. Going into this game, we don't have the brightest outlook on it. Going up against the Rams are coming off of a 10-day break, coming off of a last-second loss where they went for it on that fourth down. So Rams, I'm sure, are pretty upset. Rams are a very, very good team. And a lot of times our Ravens have been compared to the Rams because we talked about coaching a little bit ago and how that's been an issue with this team. A lot of fans are like, oh, man, well, what happens if you blow it up? What happens if you just get rid of the coaching staff and you blow it up? But a lot of people point to the Rams as an example of that happening, like where the team, they really just went all for it. They went all in, remember, with the draft picks and where they got Odell, they got Dante Fowler Jr., they got a little bit of everybody that year. And they end up winning the Super Bowl, but then they pretty much started over. And now, like, they're back to being a really good team again, and that's without Aaron Donald. So a lot of us are looking at like, okay, well, it's possible to blow things up and still have success relatively quickly. Now, you do still have Sean McVay, obviously. Now, is it true that he's in the last year of his contract?
I don't believe so. Let me check that actually. I think it's more so people always like talk about rumors of is he going to leave for broadcasting,
Mm.
but to my knowledge, let's see, Sean McVay, he signed a contract extension. It runs through 2026. So I guess we'll see. For the Rams fan perspective, we aren't worried about Sean McVay leaving. He talked about the fact that when those rumors were kind of swirling around
Mm-hmm.
on if he'd leave or not, he talked about him deciding to come back wasn't for just a couple of years and just like write it out there. It was more of a long term, like, yes,
Correct.
I'm really locked into this. So that's a good thing for us because Sean McVay is like the mastermind behind everything and why
Yeah.
everything's going well. And the crazy thing that you referenced with that kind of rebuilding on the fly there was like they were still competitive in every year other than like the year after that Super Bowl in 2022 where they just got like beat up everywhere. They've been competitive like while they're rebuilding and hitting on draft
Hmm.
picks. So it's definitely doable. It's like, is it very common in the NFL? No, but it would be interesting to see if the Ravens took that kind of approach, especially when you have like for us Stafford. We don't know how much longer he has. He's
Hmm.
playing at such a high level right now. We hope to have
Yeah.
him another couple of years for sure. But for your guys' perspective, it's like you're gonna have Lamar for a while. So if you could pull that off, still have Lamar around for however much longer he wants to go, like that could put you guys in a really good position.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Speaking of Lamar, though, I'm disappointed with this, with him missing this game. Like I know a lot of Rams fans, they don't want to see Lamar Jackson, and rightfully so. I mean, like he's a dangerous quarterback. For me, I would have rather seen Lamar and like you guys at your best to
Right.
play against us, just because it's like that's the true litmus test. And we haven't seen Sean McVay and the Rams beat Lamar Jackson. And the interesting thing is, out of the 4 times that these two teams have played with Sean McVay being the head coach, Lamar has only played in 2 of those games. One of them I want to forget about 2019.
Oh,
You guys came into our house on Monday Night Football,
that
put up like
touchdown
50
game.
points.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want that was like nightmare material. I still think about that. But then in 2023, these two teams faced off. Another not as bad of a situation, but still kind of nightmare fuel as a Rams fan. We had that punt walk off touchdown in overtime. That was
Hmm.
crazy as a
Yeah.
Rams fan. And so like I think that we would have gotten another competitive game if Lamar played, and this whole
Hmm.
team was just kind of firing on all cylinders like they were supposed to be. So
Yep.
I'm kind of disappointed we're missing Lamar this game, just because like I feel like it would have been such a good game, man.
Yeah. That would have made it a whole lot better. If you disappointed as a Rams fan, how you think we feel as Ravens fans with
Yeah,
Lamar being out this
seriously.
game? Most likely, it's not official of it, but most likely he's not going to play in
Mhm.
this game. I remember that 2019 game. It was Monday Night Football against the Rams at the Rams stadium, and
Mhm.
I remember thinking about that game. I was nervous, so nervous for that one. I was like, oh my goodness, it's the bright lights. It's going against Aaron Donald. And I said, oh boy, what are we getting ready to do? They got Jalen Ramsey. Oh man, yeah, we got Marcus Peters from them, but still they got Jalen Ramsey, and that's a big upgrade. And I'm like, oh my, I was just so nervous for that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went crazy. And they and even when we scored a couple of touchdowns and got out to a nice lead, I was still like, ooh, I don't know, man. They might try to come back and what, but yeah, Ravens closed it out. And then of course that game a couple of years ago that you referenced, with Tylan Wallace getting the punt return for a touchdown to just end it. That was probably my favorite game from that season a couple of years ago, and it was just so much craziness. I remember I think it was like 3rd and 17, and we needed a touchdown, and Lamar threw
Oh
one
yeah.
to Zay Flowers, and it was just crazy. Even that drive alone, it was just one of the wildest things to see. And that game from a couple of years ago reminds me of something coming up in this game with Puka Nacua, who just tearing it up, man, just tearing it up. And
Yeah.
then y'all still have Devontae Adams too, and it's crazy with Devontae Adams, man. The Ravens they can never figure out how to cover Devontae no matter what team he's on. Last year was with the Raiders. He just kept beating them over and over and over again. Years ago, it was obviously with the Packers, and he was just dogging them. And now he's with the Rams, and then with Puka on the other side, it's like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
And again, like we talked about our defense earlier, they've been bad. They've been historically bad this year. We know Puka he's on a historic run right now, so that's not like the best combination that of anything that we're looking forward to for this week. So it's just not looking good. Looking great for y'all, especially with Puka.
Yeah.
You want to keep breaking records. It looked like he's on pace for 2,000 yards and all that. It looked like going against the Ravens and I'm sure you heard us talk about it before. Like with the Ravens, if your offense is an offense that struggles, if your quarterback is just having a rough patch, or having a rough season, Ravens right now, they are the team to go to get your confidence back, to get your confidence boost. But your offense is not struggling.
Yeah.
So I like, yeah, it's Matt Stafford Poke Devontae Adams. Now I know the running back, he did have some fumbling issues the other night.
Yeah.
But again, Ravens have been, their defense has been a confidence booster game. So I'm sure your running back, I'm sure he ain't gonna have any fumbling issues on Sunday.
Yeah, it's crazy you're referencing the defense. As I was like doing research for this game, I was just finding like how many records they were breaking in the worst way possible, like franchise records through just 5 games of the season. I was like, gosh, like I did not expect this to come into this. I knew that like I saw the record, but obviously I'm not as tuned into the Ravens. So finding all of that out was definitely interesting. And the fact that it was like I think the Texans only put up 38 points all season, and they put up 44 against the Ravens there. Which obviously you guys were very banged up. Like just looking at the injury report, like the defense is super banged up. But it sounds like you're saying that these issues were kind of there even before the injuries happened.
Oh yeah, for sure, they definitely were, and that's the scary part about it. It's like there's no excuses for that, and especially even with as banged up as the Baltimore Ravens are and were this past Sunday against the Texans, 44 points at your crib in your stadium. The Texans, they didn't punt until late in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs game the prior week, the Chiefs, they didn't punt at all. And the only drive where they didn't score was because they missed a field goal. So nothing. The Ravens did not stop them at all. With the Texans game, Ravens just their defense doesn't command respect from anybody anymore right now. And that Texans offense, they definitely didn't respect Ravens defense, and they showed it like a million different ways. Like their rookie wide receiver, I think Noel, he scored a touchdown, did the Ray Lewis dance at M&T Bank Stadium. But then on top of that, C.J. Stroud, the game was out of reach. It was over. It was fourth quarter. He was still throwing the ball. And then what made it worse, it got to later in the fourth quarter. They put C.J. Stroud, they sat him down, and they brought up the backup quarterback, Davis Mills. So, again, if you bring up the backup quarterback, that means the game is done. It's out of reach. It's over. He was still throwing the ball. He was throwing it to the middle of the field on Ravens. It was like, oh, my goodness. Like, these dudes do not respect Ravens defense at all. But at the same time, Ravens defense, they haven't given people a reason to respect them. So, as much as we would love to have a get-right game for our defense against the Rams, it's just really, really hard to imagine. With Zach Orr, so much with the Ravens defense, it started before the play even starts. It starts before the ball is even snapped because a lot of times the cornerbacks, and this was supposed to be a team that really prides themselves on the secondary, but the cornerbacks will be playing so far back off of the receivers, like just about every play. And it's the weirdest thing to see. And they just have consistently done that over and over and over and over again. The tackling has been bad. There's been absolutely no pass rush. That's why with the Adafe away trade, it was a little concerning at first. I'm like, hold up, we don't have a pass rusher, and we just traded away a pass rusher. But I do think that the Ravens, they definitely have something on the way. And I think they have something big on the way. Who it is, absolutely no clue at all. Be nice if it was a little Jared Verse or something like that, but I know.
I don't know if we'd sign off on that one, to be honest with you. That would be interesting if they made a move like that to kind of like put some life into the team maybe and reinvigorate them a little bit. Do you so we've talked about this defense. Do you think that guys coming back coaching, do you think it's fixable at all? Because you look at the talent, I would say there's got to be a way to fix this. And if there's a fix, what do you think that is?
I think really the only way to fix the defense is to demote or let Zach Orr go. Zach Orr, he was an excellent player for the Baltimore Ravens. Came on as an undrafted rookie free agent, ended up becoming an all-pro player. He really did his thing, but unfortunately, he had to end his career early because he suffered a neck injury. And a good thing that they found it off the field instead of on the field. But he had to call it quits early. But the Ravens, they're a very loyal team, which is nice. It can be a gift and a curse, but at the same time, they're very loyal. But they gave him a job in the front office, and he just continued to work his way up. He spent some time, I think, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think being a linebacker coach over there, but the Baltimore Ravens ended up bringing him back. And then he ended up being a linebacker coach with the Ravens. And then once Mike McDonald, their previous defensive coordinator, he got hired by the Seahawks to be the head coach. They were like, all right, what do we do? Who should we hire? You know what? We're going to hire Zach Orr as our new defensive coordinator. And the defense it's been bad.
Mm.
Last year was his first year as Ravens defensive coordinator, and through the first 10 weeks, the defense was all kinds of bad. It was really, really rough. And we were going up against some good teams, some good quarterbacks. But then in the last 7 weeks, the Ravens did make some changes, and the defense looked a lot better. But then something that a lot of us hadn't even realized in real time was, hold up, we're not going up against the best competition at quarterback,
Mm.
but our defense is looking a little better. So it was almost like it was fool's gold that the defense had really improved, because
Mm.
we saw the same defense with the same personnel this year, even adding better personnel to make the defense even stronger, better, have more depth, and they went right back to being really bad again. So Zach
Mm.
Orr has been a consistent issue with this defense, and it just seems like it's a job that he's struggled with heavily, and maybe the Baltimore Ravens moved too soon with giving him all that responsibility as a defensive coordinator, because it's something that he had never done before. Not to say that just because you've never done something before doesn't mean you can't do it,
Yeah.
but he hasn't been able to do it at a successful level. Last year, they brought in Dean Pease, who's a former defensive coordinator for the Ravens. They brought him in to help out. This offseason, they brought in Chuck Pagano, another Baltimore Ravens former defensive coordinator and former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts when they got Andrew Luck. And they also are talking to Dean Pease still about helping out with the defense. So it's like they see that there's an issue, especially if you have all these different cooks in the kitchen. John Harbaugh said the other day they're relying heavily on Chuck Pagano. They're relying on him immensely to help out with the defense. And again, if you really trusted Zach Orr, you'd be like, oh no, Zach Orr, he's got it. He's going to have it handled. But if you're having all these other people come in to help, then you can see the issue. They can see the issue. So I think that would be the best way, and really the only way to truly get a fix for this defense. It will be to have somebody else do the play calling, or just to let Zach Orr go.
Hmm. That's so interesting that you bring that up too, about the competition, especially the quarterbacks that are playing near the back half of the season not being as great. Because I looked at that too. I was like, this defense finished so strong last year, and on paper they got better. So like, what's the issue here? But it's interesting because like an organization can only talk like so much about, no, we believe in this guy, like we're behind him, but actions speak louder than words. So it's like, if you're bringing all these guys in to help the defense, it's like, how much are you really behind him? It would be interesting to see where this goes as the season goes on, and very interested to keep an eye on that. We have a lot of injuries from the Ravens that they've been dealing with. Obviously, as a Rams fan, I haven't been keeping up with them as much, like week to week. So, given a lot of like, let's just say like the big guys on defense or on offense, who do you expect to be able to play going into this week, given the injuries that they have? I know we don't have an injury report yet, but I feel like that could kind of put things in one way or another. So who do you think is going to maybe trend towards playing this game that didn't play last week?
I think Kyle Hamilton. I think he should be good to play in this game. I also think Chidobe Awuzie, a cornerback, I think he should be good to go in this game. Roquan Smith, no. Marlon Humphrey, no. I don't think those two will play in this one. But yeah, Kyle Hamilton and Chidobe Awuzie, I think they'll be back for this one.
Okay, that's good to hear. I was really wanting Kyle Hamilton to play because he can play it all around the field. He's such a crazy good safety, and I'm most interested to see like if they put him on Puka at all in the slot. I think that would be such a fun matchup because he's played it in the slot before, right? Like he can do that, right?
A lot.
Yeah, so I think that would be such a fun matchup to be able to watch. And then Jair Alexander is still expected to play, right? Like he's not dealing with anything right now.
Yeah, it's been a little rough for him so far. He's only played in the very first game for us against the Bills, and it was bad in that one. And then he played in this last game against the Texans. So he's still seems like he's getting his feet under him. And it's all about opportunity. He obviously missed a chunk of last year due to injury. And this season so far, he hasn't played too much. So I think just with him being out there more, and now they have no choice but to put him out there more since they're missing people in the secondary. But I think with him being out there more, it just get a lot better. Again, it's been a slow start, but it's crazy because with him, I'm not like concern long term because he's been doing this. He's a first round draft pick from 2018. He's been one of the better cornerbacks in the league. So again, just in my opinion, it just continues to highlight like, hey, like Zach Orr is a big issue. How are so many players and so many elite players, they're just looking really bad in this scheme? Roquan Smith has looked really bad, especially these past 2 years, and 2 years with Zach Orr being a defensive coordinator. The pass rush has been terrible. Marlon Humphrey, last year he looked good. This year it's just been, oh my goodness, what is going on? And just the defense as a whole. But then again, Jair Alexander, he just has not looked good thus far. A player that we had in Mike Macdonald's scheme, our previous defensive coordinator, who's the Seahawks head coach, was Marcus Williams. Ravens signed Marcus Williams to like a $75 million contract, and he started off like just balling out, but then he got hurt. Then he came back the next season. He just was balling out, then he got hurt. So then the next season, that's when Mike Macdonald went to be the Seahawks head coach, and then we promoted Zach Orr. So his first year under Zach Orr, he was playing bad. And I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? But it didn't click for me because the only thing that changed wasn't the personnel. It was the defensive coordinator. So I was just wondering, like, man, how does somebody, like, fall off like that? Because this man was just playing so good these past couple of years. Then we get a new defensive coordinator and everything just drops off. Another person was Brandon Stevens. I'm sure you've seen a lot of Ravens fans complain about him a lot. But he, 2 years ago, oh my goodness, he was best corner on the Baltimore Ravens. He was killing it. But then first year under Zach Orr, everything just fell apart. He looked just really, really bad. And I'm like, man, how does somebody just go from being this amazing cornerback to just struggling so much? Changing defensive coordinator makes a huge difference. And I was thinking with Zach Orr, I just assumed, like, all right, he was under Mike Macdonald for a couple of years that Mike Macdonald was the defensive coordinator. He'll take a lot of what Mike Macdonald did and he'll put his own spin on it, but he'll pretty much keep it the same. You don't want to fix something that's not broken, but something broke because his defense is just, it's not been good. And to see a lot of these guys just their play drop tremendously, it's just really concerning.
Yeah, that's you don't want to be in that position as a defensive coordinator where it's like the unit gets worse. Obviously, Mike Macdonald was so good for the Ravens. It's hard to like be at that level, but like it shouldn't drop that far off, especially given the talent that they have. And so, what would your game plan be if you were a defensive coordinator going against the Rams? Like, just from a simplified perspective, what would you try to do on defense to try to stop the Rams?
Ooh, boy. Try to get your physicality back. Ravens defense hasn't been physical this season, like, at all. The only time they showed even a bit of physicality was when they went against the Browns and Joe Flacco. But other than that, they have not been a physical team. So I think with the corners just coming up, and I know, hey, Rams got some amazing receivers. They really do. But just coming up and pressing them. Don't be scared of them. Not even if you don't press them, just be a lot closer. Don't play off of them. Have your safeties up top just in case, but don't play off of these receivers. Don't give them all the time in the world. And then I would have them send some blitzes at Matthew Stafford. Try your best, your absolute best to make him uncomfortable. Try your absolute best to make him rush some throws. Just try to disrupt him as best you can. Again, like we mentioned earlier, our pass rush has not been good this year at all. The Baltimore Ravens, in the trade for Odafe Oweh, we traded for the safety from the Chargers. Oh, my goodness. I forget his name. I think it's Alohi Gillum, something like that. I forget his name. But he was brought in to allow Kyle Hamilton to just have a lot more freedom. So Kyle Hamilton, like you mentioned, he could play everywhere, but him being in the slot, him being around the line of scrimmage more, him blitzing more, him just being used as the unicorn that he is, that can open things up for Ravens defense. But the safety that we got from the Chargers was just brought in too to play deep safety, to just help not give anything up over the top. But I think another thing that it does is it alleviates a lot of pressure off of the rookie Malachi Starks as well.
Hmm.
So allowing him to be more free with his play, allowing him to think less and play more. So if the Baltimore Ravens could just get guys moving around more, don't over confuse yourself, don't overcomplicate stuff, but just to get some guys moving around more, playing a lot more free, and just really trying to attack Matthew Stafford as best as you can. That would be my strategy, and also just really to wrap up, and tackle, because again, tackling has been a big issue this year for the Ravens. Don't try to go for the big play when you're tackling somebody, because a lot of times if you start to get desperate, if things ain't going your way, you may try to, all right, you know what, let me try to knock this ball out. And I get it, you want to force a big play, you want to force a turnover, which is
Hmm.
great. But Ravens need to get back to playing fundamentally sound football, because they haven't been doing that at all. So just wrap up. Just straight up wrap up. And if you can't bring the guy down by yourself, all right, help is on the way. You got 10 other guys on the field that can help you tackle somebody. So wrap up. So, yeah, that's what I would do. Just make Matt Stafford uncomfortable and get back to playing fundamentally sound football.
That's definitely the best thing that you can do, especially against a veteran quarterback. If you can make him uncomfortable, don't just like I'm in total agreement with you with like the soft zone, like they call it bend but don't break defense. I hate that strategy.
Yes.
We even saw that against the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. What was so confusing to me, like from a Rams perspective in that game, was you're playing a complete backup team in the 49ers with like
Yeah.
backup quarterback, backup receivers everywhere. But still, we were playing like 10 yards off the receivers the
Mm,
whole game, just like letting them just think and dunk the whole time.
it's
And everybody's
frustrating.
like, Mac Jones looks so good. I'm like, yeah, but also like we're just giving it like exactly what he wants. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely with you there. I can't stand that style of defense. Everybody's always like, but then you're going to get beat over the top. I'm like, make them beat you over the top. If that happens, you can adjust, but like, don't just give it to them right away. So we've talked about a lot of bad things about this Ravens defense, rightfully so. But as Rams fans, we want to know what's the most slept on Ravens player on the Ravens defense
Oh, man.
that that we don't know about.
Nobody right now because it's been so
Mm,
bad. But now I would say Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins,
mm,
he's been a lone bright spot in this Baltimore Ravens defense to this point. He's been, yeah, probably our best player this year so far. He sometimes has been asked to cover the number one cornerback, but Ravens, they don't really do the traveling. So it just depends on
mm,
where that, excuse me, not the number one cornerback, the number one receiver. And Ravens corners don't usually travel with the number one wide receiver. They usually just play on one side of the field. So
mm.
sometimes he'll get matched up with the top receiver. Sometimes he won't. But yeah, Nate Wiggins, he's definitely been probably and I can't even really say like slept on, but he's just
Yeah.
more so been the lone bright spot on this defense. Cause yeah, that's been about it. We haven't had any just playmakers. Because again,
Mm.
giving up 44 to the Texans, 37 to the Chiefs, 38 to the Lions. We did only give up 17 to the Browns. Again, that's the Browns, and then giving up 41 to the Bills. So not many bright spots on this defense right
Yeah.
now. But yeah, I would say Nate Wiggins.
That's a good pick. It's interesting to me how they don't have cornerbacks travel because I was learning about that too because Nate Wiggins plays more on the right side of the field, correct, for the Ravens defense, or is it just like they just have him play on one side and then whoever lines up against him, that's just how it's gonna roll?
Yeah,
I'm
it's yeah. From the offensive point of view, yeah, on the right side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very interested to see too, just like from an entertainment perspective, to see when Alexander is on Devontae Adams, like two
Mm,
former Packers. Like I feel like that's gonna be so much fun to watch, but.
I didn't think about
It,
that.
Yeah, I mean, like, because when I look at these two players now, like, I don't really think about the Packers as much anymore.
Right.
It feels like that was like decades ago for some reason, but
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be fun to watch, especially because like Jair, he likes to talk. He's one of those cornerbacks that's like kind of got that alpha personality, so that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be fun to watch for sure. But
Oh yeah.
switching gears over to the offensive side here, obviously we're not expected to see Lamar Jackson play. I was reading that the Ravens were deciding between Cooper Rush and Tyler Huntley. Like it's not a fit. Is that true, or are they still just rolling with Cooper Rush? And if it were your choice, who would you pick?
I think they will stick with Cooper Rush. I don't think they're gonna make the switch yet to Tyler Huntley, and hopefully Lamar is not out for an extended amount of time to where they even have to make that
Yeah.
decision. But I would actually stick with Cooper Rush too. Reason being, Tyler Huntley, he can move around more, he can scramble more than a Cooper Rush for sure. But from what we've seen with Tyler Huntley in the past, with him starting games for the Ravens, it's a lot of short passes, and pushing the ball downfield has been an issue with him. With Cooper Rush, you do lose out on that mobility, but he will push the ball downfield a lot more. The game last week against the Texans, Cooper Rush, if you look at the box score, it's like, oh, he threw 3 interceptions. Wow, that is so terrible. How could he throw 3 picks? That's so bad. Why would you want him to still be the starter? But when you watch the game, it's like, oh, okay. He threw 3 picks, but technically he only really threw 2. He only threw 1. Because his first interception was on a pass that he just threw late. He threw late to Derrick Henry. And I forgot which Texans defender jumped and picked it off.
Like Petrie, I think.
That was a bad pass by Cooper Rush. But his second interception, it was a pass thrown to Mark Andrews, hit him in the hands. It was a little bit low, but it was still a catchable pass. Mark Andrews bobbled it, brought it back up in the air. And then the Texans' corner, he picked it off. And then the third interception, it was a deep pass to Rashad Bateman down the sideline toward the end of the game. Rashad Bateman was running, then he just stopped. He pulled up on the route, just stopped running. Easy interception for the Texans defender. So 2 out of his 3 interceptions, they were on the pass catcher. So not overly concerned with Cooper Rush turning the ball over, but again, he did push it downfield. He had a nice 56-yard pass to Zay Flowers. He had some nice passes, intermediate passes to Mark Andrews, DeAndre Hopkins. So I would stick with him to be the starter this week.
It's interesting perspective that you give to those 3 interceptions, just because like when you do look at the box score, you just assume it's all on him. But I was just interested because like I feel like every time I've seen Huntley play, like I've been overall impressed, just given the fact he's a backup quarterback. And I got to put a little asterisk, Pro Bowl Tyler Huntley,
Yeah,
not just a backup quarterback. So yeah, I was surprised that they rolled there with Cooper Rush, but we'll see. I guess like just got to keep it in rhythm, give it another chance. I will say this is probably up to this point in the season, probably the weakest secondary the Ravens have played. So
maybe.
if he's taking his shots down the field, we got guys that are a little bit undisciplined at times. And our cornerbacks, the tallest one we have on the corner in the cornerback room is Emmanuel Forbes, who's 6 feet tall. Everybody else is below that. And so I think even if Cooper Rush just takes those shots down the field and makes sure that the Rams are playing like fundamentals on defense, like you can at least maybe get a couple pass interferences, just because our cornerback room is not the greatest at the moment right now. But I hate to even have this as a topic, but I'm seeing so many people talk about it that I just want to get your perspective on it. Derrick Henry, is he still the same guy? Everybody's talking about like his production's dipped. It's a lot of fantasy football people, I assume. But for me, I'm still like, this is the same guy. I don't think that he's fallen off at all. And I don't think that it's like a guy that you're like, oh, you don't have to worry about it anymore. He's watched. Like, this is still an elite running back in my mind. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think he definitely still is. Offensive line still isn't, though. The offensive line is the exact opposite of elite. That's why we're hoping. And John Harbaugh did talk about it in a press conference a couple of days ago. He said, like, hey, we're looking at everything, because he was asked about potential changes that the Baltimore Ravens could make. He said, we're looking at everything. We're looking at personnel. We're looking at the coaching staff and whatnot. And then it's like a day later after he said that, they traded him away, Ladafe away. So, okay, well, I guess maybe they are making some changes. But with the offensive line, we would love to – really the guard play has been the worst. And, as an offensive line, they're like links of a chain. One affects the other, especially right next to it. So I think the guard play has really brought down the play of just the whole line across the board. So they could definitely use some improvements there. Daniel Falele and Andrew Voorhees just have not been having great seasons, and that's impacted Ronnie Stanley negatively when he's played. It's definitely impacted Tyler Linderbaum for sure, and Roger Rosengarten. But, everybody's had their struggles on his offensive line at times. But for Derrick Henry, he needs those guys. In order for him
Yeah.
to have success, he needs them. But I think a big part of why Derrick Henry has been struggling so much, week one, he was going crazy against the Bills. He was
Yeah.
going off, and it was a beautiful thing to see. But then week two, the Browns, like, they sold out to stop Derrick Henry. They
Hmm.
were like, nope, you are not about to run on us at all. And then week three against the Lions, it's like the Ravens just they didn't really use him too much. And then they did the same thing against the Chiefs where they just didn't really use him. And then when Lamar went out in that Chiefs game, it's like it makes it easier to defend Derrick Henry if Lamar is not out there. And then with the Texans, so much of we were just hoping, like, all right, hopefully Derrick Henry can go off, especially we got a backup quarterback in. They're going to really need to rely on Derrick Henry. And the Texans, they did everything in their power to stop Derrick Henry. They basically told the Ravens, like, hey, he is not going to go off against us. You better find somebody else. And he didn't do anything. And the Ravens they did give him a fair shot. They gave him a good amount of carries. They were really trying to get Derrick Henry going, but the Texans, they were stopping it. And then the game, it ended up getting out of hand so quickly to where Derrick Henry, him running the ball just wasn't even going to be a factor anymore at that point. So it's just been a mix of, just teams selling out to stop him. It's been a mix of Lamar not being out there next to him, even though Lamar just hasn't been out there for a game and a half. But I think the biggest issue has been to get Derrick Henry going has been the offensive line.
That's definitely a big thing that a lot of casual fans don't really want to take into account, like any sort of context that you're providing there. I think that you brought up a great point with Lamar Jackson, like missing as a defense. You can just sell all the more to stop the run
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, okay, if we lose because Cooper Rush goes off, like something's probably wrong with us, to be honest. So you can try to stop the run a lot better just because you don't have that worry about Lamar Jackson, and that definitely plays a big part. And in my mind, Derrick Henry is one of those guys that if you can stop him in the first couple of yards, like before he gets the like full head of steam, that's like exactly where you want to be. So if you can get him at the line of scrimmage or even a yard or two past it, that's like an ideal world. But if you let him get to the second level, he'll already have enough momentum. He's a big guy; you can barely bring him down. That's why, for me, I'm looking at this week like we got a linebacker this offseason, Nate Landman from the Falcons, and he has really helped to address our run stopping issues that we had the last couple of years. Been a very good run stopper, but not a lot of people are talking about Puna Ford, who we got from the Chargers. He's been such a great nose tackle for us, and he's been able to either make the running back shoot to a different gap and take his time more where Landman can get in there, or he'll just shut off the lane completely. And I think that he's going to be somebody that's going to be interesting to watch here because I think that if you let Derrick Henry get enough momentum, like nobody can really tackle that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be on the guys in the front seven to be able to stop him before he gets any momentum going. And given the fact that you're saying like offensive line hasn't performed that great this season, that gives me a little bit more hope that hopefully we can stop him before, because all it takes is one. All
Yeah.
it takes is one run to kind of break a game open. But I want to talk about Rashad Bateman too.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, like, has he missed time this year? I was looking at his production. I was surprised with how low it's been. Has that just been like, what's the reason behind that?
No, he hasn't missed any time at all. Rashad
Hmm.
Bateman has been a very interesting wide receiver for the Ravens because he just got off to a slow start in his career. He's a first round draft pick. Him and Adafe Away actually in the same draft, both in the first round.
Hmm.
Um, and they both got off to slow starts in their careers. Last year, it just seemed like a coming out party for both of them. Both of them had career years last season, and we were hoping, like with Rashad Bateman, that this year, like he would just pick up where he left off because it gave us a lot of confidence in him. And then the Ravens, them adding DeAndre Hopkins, them still having Zay Flowers, them keeping Mark Andrews and still having Isaiah Likely. I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for this offense to just continue where they left off last season. But with Rashad Bateman, the Ravens they haven't got him going yet. They haven't gotten him crazy involved yet. He's been out there, but
Hmm.
he just hasn't got it going yet. But again, Lamar hasn't been out there. Well,
Yeah.
it's just been a game and a half because they really weren't even getting Bateman going like that, even when Lamar was there. Um, so yeah, we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So hopefully, hey, could this be the game where he breaks out for the season? Yeah, anything's possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything's possible, especially when with Cooper Rush, he doesn't have like a favorite receiver or anything that he's gonna be throwing the ball to. He's just like, hey, whoever's out there, they out there,
Yeah.
and I try my best to get it to him. He doesn't have anybody that he has like the best chemistry with, anything like that. So everybody's gonna have an opportunity. So hopefully with Rashad Bateman, yeah, he can get things going. And it's like similar to Zay Flowers, because the first game, like Zay Flowers was doing his thing, and then from there it's been like a roller coaster. And I guess it's really been like that with all of our receivers. It just has been a lack of consistency getting them involved. So again, with Rashad Bateman, the talent is there, the ability is there. They just gotta get the ball there and make some stuff happen.
Seems like that's kind of a theme of this year's Ravens, whether it be like because of injuries or not, like coaching, putting the players in the best positions. Because you guys just like, again, on paper, everything looks
Mm-hmm.
nice. Like you guys got some great players there. And so it's very interesting to see the fact like it's early on in the season, things can change, but like these guys, in my opinion, aren't being utilized as good as I would think, just given the talent that they have.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. I mean, coming into, from a Rams perspective, coming into that Eagles game that we ended up losing somehow, um, everybody was talking about A.J. Brown in the passing game of the Eagles was just not working. And obviously the Eagles had their starting quarterback. And then he just went bananas, like, especially in the second half. A.J. Brown, that was like his game. And then since then, he hasn't really done much. Like, to be honest, when you just look at the numbers, Smith has gotten going a little bit more, but like, kind of similar to what you were saying about the Ravens being like a get right game for other offenses. I would look as a Ravens wide receiver and be like, this is my opportunity to get right. Like Rams cornerback room isn't the best. I think if you put them in better positions than doing that off zone stuff that we were talking about, they
Mm-hmm.
can do better. Just especially because when you have such a good pass rush, like it's going to be make your cornerback's job a lot easier. So
Yeah.
that's obviously going to be big. But if I'm a Ravens receiver, I'd be like, this is my chance to get right. Like AJ Brown did that, and since then he hasn't really had that kind of game. So I don't know, something to keep an eye on for sure. Similar to what we talked about on the defensive side of the ball, what would be your offensive game plan coming into this game if you were to make
Mm.
one?
Offensive game plan. I think with everything that you talked about, especially with the secondary for the Rams, it would be to push that ball down the
Yeah.
field. Try to push the ball down the field. Try to come out early, pushing the ball down the field, and just really get the Rams cornerbacks and really just get the entire team backed up. And then that could open up things in the run game for Derrick Henry. That could help out that offensive line. So yeah, I would have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman going on some deep routes, DeAndre Hopkins, and getting the tight ends involved too. Just really spreading that ball around and just pushing it so the Rams defense they can play backed up, and then yeah, sneak in some Derrick Henry and hopefully just get him active again because he's been very very quiet. Outside of that first game this season against the Bills, he's been very very quiet.
Hmm. I think that's definitely the right game plan to take, especially given the fact like obviously this is very game plan oriented, but last week we made Kendrick Bourne look like a Hall of Fame receiver. Like he had 120 yards, 130 yards, I think, against the Rams on Thursday Night Football. Again, I think a lot of that's game plan oriented, but
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're a team playing a backup quarterback, the last thing you want to do is just play the small ball, like just quick throws all the time, because the defense is just going to catch on and just like
Mm-hmm.
get in the face and just throw off the rhythm, and it could really get ugly. So definitely think that's big. I think another reason like why our cornerback room is struggling so much, like everybody's talking about the Rams need to add a cornerback in this offseason, whether it be through the draft or bringing Jalen Ramsey back. I would have loved to see Jalen Ramsey back because he's one of my favorite Rams of all time for sure. But they were counting on Akella Witherspoon, who is their big body cornerback. I think he's 6'3", 6'4". He's got long arms, very good speed. And he's one of the more underrated kind of like shutdown cornerbacks in the league. When you go back and look at his tape and you look at the production, he's been very good, but he got injured. He broke his clavicle against the Titans. I believe that was week 2. And since then, you can really see the vulnerabilities of this defense because then it elevates guys who were in their more of their natural positions to have to step up and be more of the guy. Because I look at Emmanuel Forbes from the Commanders, I don't see him as being a number one shutdown guy. But if you have a guy who's more like that on the opposite side of him and he can just kind of like play ball hawk a little bit more,
Hmm.
that's a little bit more of his natural position. So definitely going to be an interesting thing to keep up on in this game. See if the Ravens really try to attack that and be the aggressors there. Um, what would you say is your biggest offensive concern for this game?
Mm. Biggest offensive concern for the Ravens would just be if they couldn't put up points, if they
Mm,
couldn't match point for point with the Rams, and that's what a lot of us are assuming is going to happen. Um, Especially because we like before, like even I think Tyler Huntley played against the Rams like years ago
mm-hmm.
when Lamar was out, um, and it was a close game, but we had a good defense back then. So now, like going against the Rams with a backup quarterback, we don't have a good defense. So
Mm,
that would force our offense to have to score more points. You ain't gonna be able to go field goal for touchdown with the Rams. It's not gonna work that way. So I think that would be the biggest concern if the Baltimore Ravens offense cannot and does not put up points and match points with the Rams.
yeah, it's definitely a big thing. Playing keep up. This Rams offense has played very well this season, especially moving the ball down the field.
Mm.
And Stafford's leading the league in passing yards right now, and is playing the best I think he's played with the Rams. So they've been doing well, but they've also had their fair share of miscues, like the fumbles that you're talking about on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of like those self-inflicted things, and then we've had 4 kicks blocked on the year, which is just crazy. And so there's a lot of things where it's like, yes, they're doing good, they're putting up good numbers, but like in my mind, I'm like, there's another level they can go to if they're not kind of shooting themselves in the foot like they have been.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that comes into play into this game. And then on the offensive side of the ball, what do you think, or who do you think is the most slept on Raven on offense?
Mm. Right now, hmm, that's a good one. I would say maybe Zay Flowers.
Hmm.
Um, Zay Flowers, he's when he's got the opportunity, he's done a really good job this year. He's just upped his catching, and he was always had good hands. But seeing some of the catches that he's made this year have been amazing, and the catches with contact, just him tracking the ball and adjusting to it. So I would say Zay Flowers. Also, he played in his first game last week. Didn't get much action, but did get some. And I would say Keaton Mitchell. But what's bad about
Hmm.
him is that he slept on even by the Baltimore Ravens
Oh,
because he's a weapon. But for whatever reason, weeks 1 through 4, the Baltimore Ravens they had him inactive.
hmm.
Don't know why. Don't know the reason. They never explained. They said it was the Harbaugh said it was a numbers game, but it's like if you in the NFL, you're trying to win, put your best foot forward. Why would you have him not playing? But it was just a whole weird thing. Um, but yeah, Keaton Mitchell will be another one because he's somebody that, and it happened the other day in the Texans game. It was sort of an end around. They handed him the ball, and he started running to the outside. And edge defenders, had that been maybe Derrick Henry, had that been somebody else just who doesn't have the speed that a Keaton Mitchell has, then they would have got tackled. Either for
Hmm.
no gain or would have got tackled in the backfield. But Keaton Mitchell, because of his speed, he was able to bend that corner, turn it upfield, and turn what could have been either a negative or a no gain into a 6 or 8 yard gain. I forget what it is. And something like that, it doesn't sound so nice. Oh, it's not such a sexy play, but at the same time, that stuff adds up. And when people
Yeah.
like that, when they get more and more opportunity, then they could end up breaking a big one. So I
Hmm.
would say, yeah, Zay Flowers and Keaton Mitchell would be the two that I say are slept on the most.
I definitely want to see Keaton Mitchell get used a lot more in this offense. And I was kind of confused from my perspective. I'm glad you provided clarity on that just because he is a weapon and he's a guy that you can use. Like, just imagine if he was on the Chiefs, like how much he'd
Oh
be
yeah,
integrated in there and how much
yeah,
he would be used and his skill set would be showcased there. Like,
mm-hmm.
I want him to be able to be used more just because he's kind of like that. You always hear the lightning in a bottle kind of
Right,
player. To
exactly.
me, that's what he is. And he's a great change of pace guy for Derrick Henry. obviously Justice Hill, he's a good guy to do that as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's more of like a receiving back than he is like a third, like every down kind of back.
Right.
But let's see, Ravens win this game if.
Oof. Ooh. If everything goes more than perfect for them. Um, right now, as Ravens fans, we don't have much confidence in them at all to win this game. But we obviously are still hoping that they do. But
Mhm.
everything would have to go right. Everything. Uh, Most likely, again, Lamar Jackson is not going to play. So that right there drops their chances by a lot. But on offense, they could not be turning the ball over. You cannot be having drops. You cannot go field goal to touchdown versus the Rams. So for the Ravens to win, yeah, Derrick Henry has to be a healthy contributor in this game. I don't like necessarily putting an amount of yards on it because
Mhm.
again the box score it doesn't always indicate somebody's success or their failures by just looking at the numbers. But I'd say if Derrick Henry could get like 85 yards, I think that would depend on how many rushes too. That could be a good sign.
Mhm.
Even especially without Lamar Jackson being active if he doesn't play. With Cooper Rush, if he could just keep spreading that ball around and just pushing it downfield, and the Ravens are converting on third downs, they moving the ball, they scoring touchdowns. That's the biggest thing. They scoring touchdowns. Um, and then the scariest part of this team, the defense. If
Mhm.
the defense can force the three and outs, force field goals, keep the Rams out of the end zone. This game, it would take so much for the Baltimore Ravens to overcome themselves because they have
Mhm.
been one of their own biggest issues. The coaching staff, the inconsistent play calling, the execution, because it's not just all on the coaching staff. It starts with them, but it's been
Mhm.
on the players as well. But then you got to get through all that, and then, oh yeah, you got the Rams on the other side of the football too. So to overcome them, but on defense, just again, if they can start getting some pressure on Matt Stafford, we would love for the Ravens to get a bunch of sacks, but pressure would be huge because that can cause a lot of bad stuff to happen. Now we know Matt Stafford, obviously a veteran in the game, been playing for a long
Mhm.
time, done made plenty of plays. So pressure, that ain't gonna be the end all be all. You gotta get to him as well. But if the Ravens defense could also force some turnovers, that's also been something that we just have not been doing this year either. Have not been
Mhm.
forcing any turnovers like that. And then special teams too. Special teams, Tyler Loop, he missed his first field goal last week.
Mhm.
But the special teams could get going. The kicking game with field goals, the kickoff game too, no penalties there, and also covering them kickoffs better. Ravens have been lacking when it comes to that. But also if they can actually force some punts, because that's something that
Mhm.
we have not been doing at all for these past couple of weeks. LaJonte Wester, our punt returner, who we're all excited for, he's just been MIA because the Ravens defense has been MIA.
Uh,
For you having a punt returner that's got some electricity to him, we can't see him if you don't force any punts. But yeah, for Ravens to win, everything would have to go right.
hmm. Hoping that that doesn't happen here, especially on a a long week, given all the rest that we have after Thursday night football. To just given everything that you said, like I know that the Ravens organization is one that takes a lot of pride in what they do, and they've been very consistently good for a while. But
Mm-hmm.
this has been definitely very surprising just to see
Oh
where
yeah.
they've been and just to see all the things that you're talking about of just like pure fundamentals, coaching, all that stuff going like if they lose this game and if they continue on a slide, which for me, like after this Rams game is over, I hope they don't continue sliding.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the AFC. I hope they do better. But if that happens, do you think that they're going to look to like addressing the head coach position? Maybe like is John
Yeah.
Harbaugh on the hot seat or not really?
I think he is on the hot seat, but I don't see a scenario where he would actually get fired during this season. After the season, I
Hmm.
can see it happening. But
Okay.
during the season, no. I think their first move, if anything, would be to move on from Zach Orr. That's the
Hmm.
only coach that I see possibly than moving on from during the season, especially depending on how this game goes because of the timing of this game. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is out, but again, the defense has been really bad, even when Lamar Jackson was playing too. But with the defense, they've been historically bad. And normally, if a team, especially since it's before the bye week, this is our last game before the bye week. If a team is going to make a coaching change, they will want to do it on a bye week, so they have more time to implement that new coach's system and everything that they want to do. Well, not their system, because if they fire Zach Oil, it would be a coach that's already on the roster, but who would take over for him. But now, after this game, would be the time. If they're going to do it, that would be the time to make it happen.
Yeah, definitely going to be very interested to see how that story plays out here the rest of the season. I'm excited for this game too, and I just want to, we got all our questions answered, but we had some people in the chat from earlier. Just want to shout them out. Peo Time, he's a Rams YouTuber. He says, Ingraven is a great YouTuber and fan. Thanks for your hard work covering the team. I second that as well, man. You do a great job, so thanks for coming on here. We got David saying Rams will win the Super Bowl this year. I hope so.
You never know, man.
Never know. Peo Time says, good info coming out. Thanks again, Peo Time. And then I don't even know how you would pronounce this one. But he said, what a great find this morning. Shuriken, okay. Never would have guessed that. He also agreed with you saying that KM is severely underutilized in the Ravens offense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll see. Hopefully, I hope they figure it out and find a way to be able to get him plugged into this offense used a little bit more. But selfishly, I hope it's not this week. That's just from a Rams fan perspective. But thank you all for joining me and Ingraven today in this early morning talking Rams and Ravens. Definitely excited for this game. Ingraven, where can they find you? If any Rams fans or Ravens fans watching here don't know you, where can they find you?
Hey, appreciate you having us on. You can find us on our YouTube channel. Is Ingraven Vids, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just everything. It's all Ingraven Vids. On there, we talk about the Baltimore Ravens each and every single day. Whatever's happening with the team, we're going to talk about it, whether it's good or bad. We also do live streams during every single Ravens game. So if you want to catch the Ravens-Rams game, watch it with us. We welcome everybody, whether you're a Rams fan, Ravens fan of whatever team. You want to come in there, just have a little fun, talk a little trash. It's all good. You're more than welcome. So, again, I appreciate you. I thank you for having us on, man.
Yeah, absolute blast. Glad I was able to do this finally. Been watching your channel for a while. We finally were able to connect and talk Rams and Ravens. Hopefully we get a good game this Sunday. But thank you guys again for joining us. If you guys could like and subscribe to the channel and to Ingraven's channel to help him out there, we'd both really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day, though. Horns up and God bless.